As video editors, we often get so wrapped up in what we can do. Transitions, cool effects, and even crazy sound design, but we often miss the point of why we're doing it in the first place. Obviously, we want to keep people watching, but over my 11 years of editing, I've discovered that the goal isn't just to optimize retention or follow trends, it's to create a connection. So in this video, I'm sharing 3 game-changing editing secrets that took me years to learn. And after each one, I'll show you exactly how it works with a real-life example so you can start applying them to your videos right away. And these aren't just your typical editing tips, they're the kinds of lessons that take your edits from good to videos that people are gonna remember forever. And I wish I'd known them sooner, because once you learn these 3, you don't just edit videos anymore, you start creating experiences. So the first and most important secret is to edit with emotion. You can have the cleanest transitions and the flashiest effects, but if you're not making your audience feel something, you're doing it all wrong. And Walter Murch, the Oscar-winning editor behind films like The Godfather Part 2, understood this at the highest level. In his book, In the Blink of an Eye, he lays out the rule of 6, which are a set of 6 principles that every editor should consider for each cut in their video. But in this video, we will be focusing on the top 3, as these are the most important for every cut in your video. But even with all 6 rules, he prioritizes one above the rest: emotion. Now you might ask, why is emotion number 1? Well, because Murch believes every choice you make in the editing room should enhance or evoke the desired emotion you want your audience to feel. And each cut should contribute to the general emotional experience or tone of the video. If you think about any of your favorite movies or videos you've ever watched, I can guarantee they're your favorite because they made you feel something that resonated with you on a deeper level than most movies or videos do. And that's why Walter Murch has been quoted saying, you have to keep your fingers on that emotional pulse as an editor and really never let it go. But because of this, as an editor, you need to be able to be connected with your emotions as you edit, so you can feel how the edit works and what emotions are conveyed. So with that being said, let's look at a perfect example of how The Godfather builds an immense emotion of tension in one of its most iconic scenes, when the main character Michael makes his first hit. In this scene, Michael sits across from a man and a corrupt cop in a small, quiet Italian restaurant, knowing he's about to cross a line he can't return from. He gets up, walks to the bathroom to grab a gun he hid behind the toilet, and as he's about to walk back out, there's an increasingly loud sound of a train going by. This sound is specifically used to resemble the inner turmoil and anxiety he's feeling about what he knows he's about to do next. And then as he sits, the moment is coming closer. The camera slowly zooms in on his face. You can see he's beginning to wrestle with the decision to kill him, and the edit holds on this tense expression while a distant train sound goes louder and louder. Notice how this is extremely tense, and there's no music playing, no crazy action sequence, just the setup of the context and the rising intensity of that train sound. Then when Michael finally pulls the trigger, the train sound hits a peak and silences, letting the tension explode without a single word. This is the epitome of editing with emotion. Every decision in this moment creates that emotion of tension, from the train sound reflecting his anxiety, the intentional choice to only show Michael's face, the slow zoom focusing on his facial expressions, and even how close the camera is to his face, creating a claustrophobic feeling. So you might be thinking, okay, great, this is all wonderful, but how does this apply to me editing YouTube content? Well, even for YouTube content, whether it's a tutorial or a story-driven vlog or a challenge video, the lesson here is to ask yourself, what emotion do I want my audience to feel in this moment? If you're teaching something, do you want the viewer to feel excited and inspired? Or if you're telling a story, do you want them to feel suspense and tension? Ask yourself what emotion you want the viewer to feel before you even get into the edit. And that way, you will be able to edit more intentionally in a way that conveys that. Now, secret number 2 is become a storyteller. But before we talk about being a better storyteller, let me share something pretty cool with you. If you're watching this, you're probably a video editor looking to improve their skills and make good money editing for YouTubers. And if that sounds like you, I've got something that you might like. I just created a free community that you could join in the description below, where you'll get access to over $5,000 worth of my editing courses, assets, and other helpful resources for completely free. Plus, you can make posts and connect with other editors editors all striving towards the same goal. Talk to me directly and join our group calls, all for completely free. I want to help editors like you make $5,000 per month as fast as possible, and I made an entire course inside the free group to help you do just that. If any of that sounds interesting to you, just click the link below to join my free community now. But now that we've talked about that, let's get back to our second secret, which is become a storyteller. And here's where a lot of editors go wrong. Most editors confuse story with plot, but plot is simply the sequence of events, just points on the timeline. But story is the meaning behind those events. It's the connection that makes these moments matter. And here's a helpful way to think about this. The story is what weaves together the plot, the characters, the setting, and themes into something deeper. A strong story doesn't just move us from one scene to the next, it creates a journey that transforms us along the way. Therefore, it's not just about what's happening on screen, it's about why it's happening. And this keeps your audience invested and eager to see where your video leads. Now, you might think storytelling only matters for movies or challenge videos, but actually it's crucial for any video, whether it's a feature film, a vlog, or even a tutorial. Even in a tutorial, the story is the reason behind the video, guiding the viewer from one point to the next, and in the end, hopefully they have a transformation, which is the thing that they've been learning throughout the entire video. This is why Walter Murch's second rule for an effective cut is story, and his advice is simple. For every cut, you need to be asking yourself, is this cut advancing the story? Because if it isn't, then most likely it needs to be cut out. Now, let's take a look at Finding Nemo as a perfect example of what great storytelling looks like. At its core, Finding Nemo is about Marlin, a father who's overprotective because he's lost so much already. His journey to find Nemo isn't just about reuniting with his son, it's about learning to let go of his fears and to trust. Every scene in Finding Nemo reflects Marlin's growth, and the editing choices are crafted to showcase this transformation. Let's look at the moment when Nemo is in the fish tank and trying to escape. This sequence isn't just about Nemo getting out, it's also about him learning resilience, courage, and independence, qualities that Marlin didn't think Nemo could develop. As Nemo rolls the pebble towards the filtration system and tries to escape, every close-up of concentration and struggle shows us that he's pushing himself beyond what he thought possible. The editing here builds tension and emphasizes Nemo's determination, letting the audience see his growth in real time. And for Marlin, every character Marlin meets on his journey contributes to his development. Dory teaches him to trust and take risks, while Crush, the laid-back turtle, shows him that sometimes protecting others means giving them freedom. In the scene where Marlin and Dory are swept into the East Australian current, Marlin watches Crush's son fall out of the current, and in usual Marlin fashion, he freaks out and tries to save him, but Crush actually stops him and lets his son figure it out on his own. This moment perfectly captures Marlin's growth as a character, and the edits in this part reflect Marlin's shift from control to trust. And by the end of the movie, the big question isn't whether Marlin finds Nemo, it's whether Marlin can learn to let go and allow Nemo to live his own life. This becomes clear in the final scene, where Marlin finally opens up and decides to trust Nemo. At this point, you can clearly tell the difference in Marlin's character from the beginning of the film to this point at the end. Everything that he's doing at this point in the movie shows us the transformation that he's made throughout this movie. And as Nemo goes off to school, the editing slows down, and the shots focus on Marlin's expression as he lets Nemo make his own choices. In that quiet, close-up moment, we see years of fear melt away as he finally lets go. Finding Nemo shows us that a powerful story is about character growth, emotional stakes, and a meaningful transformation. So when creating your videos, think about how your scripting, your filming, and even your editing can reflect a similar journey. Start with a clear goal, build stakes by adding challenges or surprises, and end with a resolution that feels like an emotional payoff. Whether it's a tutorial, vlog, or documentary style video, creating a story that has a clear beginning, middle, and end that tie together in a meaningful way will hook viewers and prevent you from creating boring videos. And now that we've talked about emotion and story, our last secret is secret number 3, which is to cut with rhythm. Now, rhythm is one of those things that people don't always think about when editing, but they will instantly feel it when it's right, and especially they'll feel it when it's wrong. And just like in music, rhythm in editing is all about timing and flow. In a song, you have beats and pauses, moments that build and moments that relax, all working together to create a certain feeling, and editing is completely the same. But here's the thing, editing isn't just about making cuts fast or slow. It's about finding the right pace to connect each moment and to best convey the story and emotion, secrets 1 and 2. And as Walter Murch describes it, rhythm is the music of the cut. Each cut is like a beat. It has its own timing, its own place, and if it doesn't feel right, then the whole scene is going to feel off balance. Therefore, when editing, you have to ask yourself, are the cuts flowing together so that the emotional tone is heightened? Did the cut occur at the right place rhythmically? If you're editing a scene that's meant to feel intense or disorienting, the rhythm of that scene should reflect that. Fast and choppy cuts can create a sense of chaos and urgency. But if the story you're telling is more peaceful, the rhythm should reflect that instead, with longer takes that allow viewers to sink into that moment. And in general, quick cuts add tension and energy to a scene, while slower cuts create calmness and a more relaxed energy to the scene. And this is perfectly shown when we take a look at the death scene from the movie Bonnie and Clyde in 1967. Cuts start slow and calm because at this point, Bonnie and Clyde are just cruising down the road, nothing happening. But then when the ambush on Bonnie and Clyde is about to begin, the rhythm completely explodes. The cuts are insanely fast, jumping between different angles, capturing every split-second movement. And this sudden shift in rhythm throws us right into the chaos and violence, so we don't just see their fate, we feel it. This is a perfect example of how rhythm should be used to convey the story and emotion of a scene. But here's something important to know. Quick cuts are not always necessary, nor always the best thing to create tension. In the case of Bonnie and Clyde, quick cuts did create that tension. But if we take a look at the movie Psycho, we'll see something completely different. When Norman Bates enters the bathroom, the rhythm is very slow. Instead of quick cuts, the editor holds on to this long, tense shot of Bates approaching the woman in the shower, knowing that she's completely unaware of him being in the room. This single shot goes on for a whole 17 seconds, and by sticking with this one shot for so long, the editor makes us sit there, knowing something bad is coming. And this goes completely against our whole point earlier that quick cuts build tension, but that's actually what makes this scene so genius. It actually builds up more tension than quick cuts would have because we can tell something awful is about to happen, but we're stuck just waiting and watching. But then as soon as Bates attacks, the rhythm shifts into complete chaos. The scene explodes with insanely fast cuts that feel disorienting, sharp, and chaotic. And fun fact, there were actually 34 different shots in a span of 30 seconds, and if you do the math, that's less than 1 second per cut, which really drove the tension and fear home for the audience that was watching. And then once the attack is over, the rhythm slows down again, letting us sit with what's just happened and allow us to feel the horror and weight of the scene. All in all, when thinking about rhythm, before you make a cut, think to yourself, does the timing of this cut fit the emotion and story I want to tell? Rhythm isn't just about speed, it's about making each part of your video feel right. When your rhythm matches the story and emotion, your videos become more than just watchable, they pull viewers in. So now that we've gone over all the 3 secrets, how do these 3 secrets all come together? Well, emotion, story, and rhythm are not just separate elements. They actually work together to turn edits into experiences. Emotion pulls people in, story guides them and gives the video purpose, and rhythm is the cherry on top that makes everything just feel right. When you bring these together, your video becomes more than a series of clips. It becomes something viewers connect with on a deeper level and something that feels meaningful. So here's a challenge for your next edit. Instead of asking, what effects should I add? Start by asking, what emotion am I trying to evoke? What's the story here, and how should this moment flow? Approach your edit with these questions, and you'll find yourself making cuts and choices that aren't just about looking cool, but about creating impact. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Most editors nowadays don't even understand these fundamental editing lessons. Too many editors nowadays are focused on how to recreate editing styles and learning how to animate without even understanding why they should add an animation. But now that you do, it's time to level up. And if you want to do that, then you need to join my free group. The link is down below, and inside you'll get to talk with other editors, chat with me, join my group coaching calls, and get $5,000 worth of my editing courses and assets, all for completely free. All this was created to get you really good at editing and be able to land editing clients as quickly as possible. So if any of that sounds interesting, make sure to click the link below this video, and I hope to see you in there. Be sure to comment below and let me know what tip you like the most and what you want to see more of, and be sure to subscribe for more valuable editing advice. But with that said, I will see you in the next one.